Hey, this is Jeff Waters from the Canadian metal band Annihilator, and we have our 14th studio release out almost now. And you are watching the one and only Metal Maniac.
Fist, the
Yeah.
next album of Annihilator, will soon be available. Could you present it to our readers?
Yeah, well, basically, it's the first Annihilator CD that where we took many years to not do any songwriting. So we went about 3 years without writing any songs. But we kept very busy playing shows and festivals and two South American tours and South American festivals. I did guitar clinics for Gibson and Epiphone guitars around the world. What else did we do? I mixed and mastered other bands' albums. Annihilator played 70,000 Tons of Metal Boat Cruise. I hosted a jam on there, an all-star jam. So very, very busy. But the one thing we did not want to do was write songs. We just wanted to stay out of the studio for Annihilator and just try to see if maybe that would give us more inspiration, more fire, excitement, thrill, creativity, whatever the words are. But I think that's what happened. We got back in the studio in January this year, January 2013, and we finished the record in April. So it was done in just a little bit over 3 months. Usually our records take 5 months to do, and I think we did it so quickly because we were very pumped up, we say. Yeah, so I think it's got a little bit of it's our 14th studio record, many records now, and it has brought back some things that we haven't done for about 6 or 7 years, which was everything from ballads to a bit of hard rock kind of stuff. We got a song called Wrapped. It's the fifth track on the album. We got a friend of ours to sing it and write the lyrics. His name's Danko Jones, and he's like a hard rock punk style artist. But he's a friend of mine, and Dave and I said, hey, let's get Danko to sing this song because it's more of a old GNR music, old Rose Tattoo, heavy metal punk kind of vibe, and that would suit his voice. Plus, we have a love song. We have a ballad. 6th track is a love song. So and I've written ballads for many Annihilator CDs. So right in the middle of this thrash heavy metal storm, there's two songs that are completely different. And I think that might be a lot of people that have heard the album so far that like Annihilator from some of the past. That's what they like about it. We've got thrash speed metal stuff, but then all of a sudden there's a ballad and there's a hard rock song and a bit of 4 songs got a bit of Chili Peppers intro, little funky stuff, and a bit of classical guitar in some of the ending songs of the record too. So there's a lot of variety, I think.
Yeah. So,
Phew! You better talk because I'm out of breath now.
what are the main themes of this album?
Lyrics,
Yeah.
they seem a little aggressive and angry sometimes. We didn't realize that till the album was finished, but that's the way it turned out. I think there's a lot of, well, if I can go like this, you know what that means, right? I think that's the theme for quite a few songs. I've got a good life in Canada. Dave and the guys we have a good life in a nice country and pretty good government, free healthcare. I mean, I know France actually has the best healthcare from what we know, some of the best healthcare system in the world. But Canada's pretty good too, and we have a good life. And sometimes people would think it's very difficult for me to come up with angry or aggressive lyrics or music, but lyrically, when you're in a band and you take care of the management and the business too, you meet great people in the record companies and press and fans and all that. But you also meet some dishonest people, like people that are trying to rip you off or be dishonest with their deals or contracts or with money. So that's where I got a lot of inspiration for this album. There's at least 2 or 3 songs where I'm saying to some of the people that are not honest. So instead of saying it by name or being angry in my personal life, I direct it to the music or the lyrics. So, but there's a couple of, like I said, there's a love song. So there's some hate and anger, and there's some love. Yeah, I don't know. Just a little aggressive singing on it, though. Some of the singing is pretty aggressive.
Okay. Then could you talk a little about the title and the artwork of this album? Allison has a lot evolved since the beginning of your career.
Yeah, I mean, we've always sort of had that, not always, but sometimes on some CDs we've had what might be the Allison Hell girl, young girl on the cover of our first CD, sort of evolved to an older girl, and then a dead girl, a zombie girl, an undead girl. So that sometimes comes back on some of the CD covers, and this time it was like a full-blown zombie cover, and it's that subject is so cliche and so used now. Everybody's, for years, we have the big show in North America, of course, Walking Dead, and zombies are everywhere. And I'm not a fan of that stuff. I like horror movies, but I never really focused on zombie movies. But the artist who did the cover, he came up with the concept, and I thought, fuck, that looks really cool. Let's use it. So I had to think of a title. So I had a very complex and difficult job of coming up with a title. So I took a dictionary, and I looked through the dictionary, and I saw the word food, and beside it said feast, and I went, cover, feast, cover, done. Took 30 seconds. So,
Okay.
big story, big news.
And then since 2003,
Yeah,
Dave Padden.
I hope that's working.
Yeah, it's
You sure?
sure.
Check 1, 2. Okay, good. Okay, start again.
Since 2003, Dave Padden became the second permanent member of Annihilator.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, and could you explain how it happens?
Yeah, it was at a time when the singer before him left for some other reasons, or for whatever reason. I can't even remember. It was a long time ago. So, of course, I was looking for a new singer, or maybe I was going to sing again on our CD. And I found Dave Padden in Vancouver, Canada. He never sang before in a band. He was a guitar player, but he had a nice voice, and he wanted to audition. So I said, okay, we'll give it a try. And he was very new, and his influences were more modern metal influences, not so much the old school that I was from. So at the beginning, it was first album he did, it was very hard to find out what his style was because he didn't have any. So one song would sound like a little System of a Down style. The next one would be like a Tom Araya from Slayer. The next one would be a melodic ballad song. So he was new and I was new to working with him. Then we did an album in 2005 called Schizo Deluxe, and he found it right away. He all of a sudden went from not sure. In 1 year, he went, okay, I got it. And he stayed to one style. And that album was really good for us and for Dave. But yeah, and then I guess after that album, he started becoming more of a part of the band. He was of the band, of my project. And yeah, since I guess the last 5 years, he slowly came into being a partner, which is cool, finally.
Let's talk about the song One Fall to Rise. It's quite a long song with a lot of different parts.
Yeah.
And so, could you talk about the composition of this song? How long did it take you to write this song?
Well, the way I write is not, I don't start with an idea and then get the feel of the song and write it piece by piece. What I do is I write a lot of guitar riffs at the beginning of all the writing. I don't write songs, I just write riffs. So I might have 200 guitar riffs, and then I actually have a friend of mine who was the original singer-drummer in the band Exciter, way back in the 80s. He comes over to my house, and I buy him some beer, and he sits down and listens to the riffs, and tells me, this one's good, this one sucks, delete. And at the end I have maybe 50 good riffs, and I just put them together and I see if they fit. So it's not the normal songwriting process. I just take good guitar riffs and I put them together until they make sense. And on One Falls, Two Rise, I just took many riffs and put them all together. And that's how the song started. When the song music was finished, then we would make the lyrics and the singing go up and down to the music.
And who were your first musical hero?
Musical, be Kiss, AC/DC,
Yeah. And,
all of them, all the guys.
yeah. And
For guitar player, it would be Eddie Van Halen and Angus Young. Yeah. Then later, when it got more heavy music, well, there was music in between. They had the hard rock, and then we had the heavy metal influences. Matthias Yabs from Scorpions, Akira Takasaki from Loudness, Wolf Hoffman, Accept. So I had that, and then it moved into the heavy and the thrash and stuff, and that was more of James Hetfield, Jeff Hanneman, Kerry King, Gary Holt from Exodus. Many heroes, many heroes.
do you have any funny details about
Funny details?
Yeah, about
Oh.
concerts and tours you would like to share with our readers?
That's too difficult a question for me. It's a good question. No. We'll come back to it or we won't do it because now that I have to think of something I don't know, my mind just goes, uh-oh, what's the answer? I don't know. I panic.
Okay. Do you have other projects in motion with Annihilator?
No, just those festivals and the things we were talking about. I just found out that our cover of our CD is going to be a 3D cover, so I thought that was kind of cool.
A couple of the days ago, you put on Facebook that Jason Newsted told you
Oh, yeah, yeah.
about the Metallica for you filling up for James, Kirk's place. So, if he had actually called you, would you have said
Oof.
yes?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yes, done. Yeah.
And did you ever consider doing a project with Metallica? Any
Music project?
Yes.
Oh, well, of course I would love to. And when I was younger, any year, any month, any day, any hour, I would love to. But I don't think they would, I don't really know them. I've met them a few times, but I don't think that would happen. But I've always wanted to write a song with Dave Mustaine, though. Yeah. I don't know. Well, if you're asking me, would I work with Metallica on a song? Yes, of course. I think anybody, any guitar player, any musician in hard rock or heavy metal would love that opportunity. It'd be a lot of fun. I mean, Hetfield's a genius, and Lars, I mean, they're all great. I like the bass player. I liked all three of their bass players. I like Lars' drumming's been so influential to many people. I don't even need to talk about Metallica because everybody, they're so big and famous and rich, and everybody knows how great they are. And I know too.
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
good question, though.
some bands have listed you among their main influences. I'm thinking, for example, of Children of Bodom. You have worked with them.
Yep.
So you influenced them, but would you tell that those bands, like Children of Bodom, also influence your
Yeah,
later work?
I guess not so much because Dave Padden listens to a lot of new bands, and he's always got, his music in his ears, and I do the opposite. I play so much music and work in studios and tour guitar clinics, write songs, produce, mix, and master CDs. So when I have time off, I do the opposite of Dave. I don't listen to anything. Sometimes I'll put old CDs in my car. That's it. It's always like Rain and Blood or Highway to Hell or Killers by Iron Maiden, or Fabulous Disaster by Exodus. But I don't really listen to much of the new music. Sometimes, I mean, Alexi will send me a CD, or Trivium, Matt and Corey I'll check their CD out, or Lamb of God, bands like that. But they're usually just friends or people that I know. Then I'll listen to it.
Last year and this year, we can say that there is a kind of heavy metal comeback with
Yeah.
many bands, like for instance, Accept, Creator,
Yeah.
Testament, and
Yeah.
this year
Destruction,
Black Sabbath
and- yeah.
and Deep Purple.
Yep.
So would you?
I heard
anything
ZZ
to say
Top
about-
and Kiss and Airborne. Who else was not Airborne? Who was playing at Hellfest? ZZ Top, Def Leppard.
White Snake.
Yeah,
playing.
White Snake played. Oh yeah, wow. I didn't know that. That's cool. Was it good?
We couldn't go, unfortunately.
We didn't see it, eh?
We were very sad.
Well, it's always good when, when any hard rock or any heavy metal or any thrash metal comes back, any kind of metal. It's good when older bands are still going. It's great because they deserve the respect and they deserve the fans and to be heard. And if they're doing good things and it's honest, not for the money, but if it's for the music, then it's all good, right? But it's good for us. I mean, when bands like, I guess in 1993, when heavy metal, traditional metal and thrash metal kind of became unpopular with the big, venues and agencies and record companies and radio and all that. 1993 in North America, it kind of died. Not all, but mostly. There was only a small group of bands that kept going. It was like Testament, Exodus, Overkill, Annihilator, Slayer, Motorhead, So it's good to see that kind of music getting more popular. And a good example is, well, there's some bands put out records now, like Megadeth, Super Collider. I've heard the album, it's pretty good, but apparently it's going down in the sales. Like a lot of bands are, and Annihilator for 3 albums goes up in sales. So this is a great time for Annihilator. It's a really, I don't know why it's going up, but I think it's because the internet and metal fans, younger fans, are discovering Annihilator and realizing, well, they're not playing one style of music. They play a whole bunch of different kinds of styles. And they've been around for many, many years. And for about 10 years, Annihilator went way down and was just selling small amount of records. But we kept going. We kept fighting and surviving. And now I think fans are starting to appreciate and listen to us now. So, cool. Good time for me and good time for metal and hard rock.
If you had any advice to give to young bands starting?
Bands? Yeah.
Bands or people starting a project like you with?
If you want to be serious, like if you want this as your career, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Or just jamming on the weekend?
No, just for people who really want to get into...
Wait, I think if you really want to be serious about it, some people say it's smart to have a career and an education and a job, right? And do the music part-time and then see if you have success or see if you have anything. But really, the bands that have success in the music business, in all music, in art and acting and all this stuff, is you have to put the music first and everything else is second. So that means family, girlfriends, sometimes alcohol, drugs, school, it's hard to explain this, work, jobs. You need money to survive. You need things for your future, but a lot of us that in the early days and now, you focus almost 100% on what you do. That's what you do. You live it. It's in your blood. It's not part-time. It's either you do it or you don't. And I think you have to be careful with alcohol and no drugs. You have to be really careful because the music business now, with record companies and the music business now, they want your publishing, they want your merchandising, they want your tour profits, they want to own your music, they want to control you, they want to everything. So you have to have your brain clear. Your mind has to be clear. So you need to learn about the business. Musically, I think musicians just need to remember, and most musicians know this, is you shouldn't listen to 1 or 2 or 3 bands or guitar players or drummers. Listen to everything. Force yourself to listen, buy a blues CD. Force yourself to buy a classical CD. Force yourself to buy jazz. That's only 3 CDs. Buy a hard rock CD. Buy a thrash metal, a speed metal, a punk record. Have lots of influences. And that'll help your music become better. That's what I think anyway. Cool.
Can I ask just one last
One more,
question?
yeah, sure.
Is there any music on your... I don't know if you have an iPod, but if you have...
Yep,
is there any,
iTunes.
Is there any music that you have on iTunes that you would be ashamed of?
if I was ashamed, I wouldn't tell you, right?
Yeah, right. But
If I was ashamed, I
that's
wouldn't.
way
Okay, how about any music on my iTunes account that or CD collection that people would be surprised to know? That's a good one. Katy Perry, George Michael, and Michael Jackson. How's that? Cool, eh? Isn't that fucking metal?
I will bleed your soul. Now it's time to bleed. I am what you need.
Yeah, you are watching because it's a video. Thanks, guys.
No second chance.